Welcome to See You at the Table, where stories meet grace. Here we gather, not just to speak, but to listen. If you want to witness how God brings people together from all around the world through powerful testimonies, tune in and see you at the table. Here's today's host.
All right, here we are. We're back at the table, and a very special guest, a guy that I've had the opportunity to serve with and get to know and just really respect and look up to, and has been just a really awesome guy, not just on campus, but a friend in the walk with the Lord. And so Coach Alfonso Alvarez, a men's volleyball coach, and does a lot of other things too, though, with game day operations and being a dad, and basically not just a dad to his kids, but all the volleyball guys. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So one of the questions we always ask is, how'd you end up at CU? Campbellsville's a kind of a place that's in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky. A really cool place, great school. But if you were going to kind of sum it up, how'd you end up at Campbellsville?
If it's just to give you a simple answer, it's the Lord placed me here, right? And so there's originally from Miami, Florida.
Miami.
Right? And originally born and raised. And so in 2019, I had looked at my wife and I said, okay, I think I'm ready. Let's go ahead and explore something else.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And the Lord took us to Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I thought I was going to be coaching at a university down there. And I got on campus after all these interviews and all this stuff that went on, and the Lord said to me, this is not where I want you right now.
Wow. Yeah.
And I was a little upset. I was like, Lord, you got me here. We moved, and now it's not here? Like, what's going on? I've been praying about this. And the Lord had a bigger plan, and that is that my dad, who I was really, really close with growing up, he got sick.
Oh, wow.
And so this was August. We moved. My wife, my youngest daughter, our oldest daughter, Jenny, who works here at the university as well, she came in a little bit after us. And so I got the call November that Dad was not feeling well. And I was literally by his bedside the entire time. Mm-hmm. And the Lord told me then and there, he says, now do you see why you couldn't work at that university? You need to be here with your dad. Yeah. And I was doing this other work. In the meantime, I was working remodeling a house for a former student, a former player of mine.
Oh, wow.
In Miami. So the girls were in North Carolina, and I was still back in Miami, and I'm going, Lord, what are you doing here, man? This is the first time we've been separated like this. And then my dad gets sick, and then shortly after that, my dad passed. And like I said, I was there. And so we were having my dad's services, and the Lord put it in my heart. He says, I have your next job lined up. And then I got a phone call.
Wow.
And the phone call took me to Bluefield, Virginia, at Bluefield University. And I remember talking to my wife about it. I said, honey, this phone call came in, and there's an opportunity. And she goes, I love it. And I said, well, I haven't even told you what it is yet. And she said, no, I like that one for you. So I was the assistant director of athletics as well as the head men's volleyball coach.
Wow.
And I worked a ton, and it was a 2-hour commute one way from home to that university.
Whoa. It's a long drive.
It is. And then Jackie said, don't worry, just tell them to give you a little apartment on campus and then just come home on the weekends. And I went, Jackie, are you sure we're okay? Like, is there something I need to know about here? And so, and we did that for 3 years, and we went through COVID there.
Oh, wow.
Right. And the Lord, again, was just really placing his hand over us. In our profession, in our industry, a lot of coaches lost their salaries during COVID. Across the country, there was just a furlough, people had to go home. And Bluefield University was such a blessing. They kept us paid while we were shut down. And I still remember that vividly. What a blessing that was, that I was still able to provide for the family the way we did. And so we went through all that. And then in 23, was it? 22, I forget.
Yeah, I don't know.
I want to say it was
here a little while, though.
Yeah. I want to say it was June 6th of 22 is when I first walked in the doors here as a full-time employee. And the way that happened was it was time to leave Bluefield, some things that happened there, and it was time to go. And I remember a few months leading up to that, I kept saying Kentucky like if it was a bad word. I was like, I can't believe I'm constantly in Kentucky. I'm always in Kentucky. I'm always in Kentucky.
Oh, man.
And the Lord must have been smiling. He goes, you have no idea. You're going to be in Kentucky a lot more. And so
That's funny.
I saw the posting for the position here. I applied, and then things happened very quickly. And there's a whole nother story to that, and I won't bore you with it, but our old athletic director, Jim Hardy, came calling, and the rest is history. Here I am.
Man, I love that. And I've heard parts of that story, just getting to hang out with you, but the idea that God has this bigger plan, we're always seeing maybe a position or a place, but, he moves us according to a lot of other things, and that's pretty tough, to understand. What's that like? So obviously as a coach, you're walking with students all the time. What do you feel like has been one of the biggest rewards and maybe also one of the biggest challenges of walking with young men and trying to help them not only be good volleyball players, but become, good men and people who also have the chance to know the Lord and follow him?
I think one of the biggest rewards is the relationships that we've been able to create with some of these guys, right? And I have so many names to throw out there. Mason McKinney is one that I've just not shut up about. He was a guy who could barely get in the starting lineup to becoming an All-American last year, right? I mean, and it was all him. He bought into what we were selling, but for sure it was his attitude and his ability to get to work that we were just so pleased with, and he just really got after it. John Marcos Gonzalez. He's still on campus around, and he's been another guy that was just an impactful leader. There were days that I didn't think he was going to make it, and I'll be honest with you. I told him best thing to do is to transfer out. You're not going to make it here. And he matured very quickly in that time frame, and he became this huge person. He set records for us and single-season records statistically for us in our program. That says a lot with the history of our program, Then there's Diego Betancourt. He's currently serving as our GA. He's an international student, sort of. He's one of those weird guys that, because of his visa status, right, he's allowed to be in the U.S. and all that stuff, but can't go back home. And he came into my office one day. He says, "I've applied for my graduate school. I don't know what we're going to do, but I'm going to stay here." I was like, "I love this. All right, we're getting a master's degree." Yeah. And so, again, just totally bought in, right? And then I think the challenges are, to better answer your question, is getting them to buy in. There are some guys that no matter what and how much you sell it and how much you present it, how much you teach it, they just don't want to buy in. They don't believe it. They don't see the big picture. And that to me is a struggle, because whether it's our generation of kids or whether it's our culture in our society that influences them or impacts them, I feel like there's a bigger picture. There's a purpose. And that's what we're trying to teach. What is your purpose? What's your why? And then if we can get them to buy into that, then that drives our daily behaviors. And
I forgot about that. That's a big phrase that you give your guys, is what's your why. There's a book, isn't it, that you had them read through, or did you do that?
Well, we've had a couple of books that we've read through. One of them was The Energy Bus. And that to me is a big story there. Basically, there's always a problem, there's always a solution, and there's always an attitude in which to get after that solution. And if your attitude is one that hey, I'm learning from this so that I can continue to grow, then that's the right attitude. And too many times we see a problem and we become negative, or we become woe is me attitude. And that's what keeps us from growing, is that attitude. And so that book was really big. Another book that we read was, the title just slipped my mind, but it's basically Talent. It'll come to me in a minute, and I'll remember the title. I'm so sorry. But basically, it talked a lot about, yes, you got to have talent to have these exceptional performances, but without the hard work, it's nothing. Without a good teacher, you don't have any talent. Without that work ethic, you've accomplished nothing. No one just wakes up being the greatest basketball player on earth. Yeah. No one just wakes up being, there's a lot of work that goes into it, And so, greatest golfer ever, one could argue Tiger Woods. Well, he had an amazing professor, teacher, and that was his dad. And he had a golf club in his hand since the age of 5. And there's so many other examples. Talent is overrated. That's the name of the book. And it really helped our guys understand that you could achieve exceptional performances if you put in the work, have the right attitude, and really have purposeful goals. And that really helped us out quite a bit.
Man, it's a lot easier, though, to lean on talent than on attitude.
Amen. Amen.
Stuff. And what's cool about that scripturally, like that's where God really leans us into. When you read Philippians 2, it tells us to take on the attitude of Christ, who considered equality with God something not to be grasped, and so that you have this humility, this servant-oriented attitude, and that's tough. Yeah.
It's kind of like I'm a music student, and like music students usually don't like being told they're really talented because that means that you have the natural ability and you didn't work for it. And a lot of the times anything we perform, we work so hard on. So it's like, no, I worked for this. I practiced for this. It's not talent.
I can't tell you how many times I've tried to pick up a musical instrument, and I just, within 5 minutes, I'm so defeated. I can't.
That's how it feels.
Right? Like, I can't. And as much as I've wanted to learn how to play something, I just to get to the point, like, I can't do this.
It's hard. I mean, I was a music education major for 3 years, and whenever you are an instrumentalist, you take all these methods classes, and so you have to learn how to play the flute, clarinet, saxophone, oboe, trumpet, tuba, French horn, trombone. Like, you learn to play everything, string instruments, percussion. So that defeated feeling has been repeated for me a lot during college, but I had to push through so I could pass my classes.
Coach, what would you say? Because I think that's a place that all of us get, is that defeated feeling. You guys have both kind of hit on that, and that's probably one of the big challenges of getting a guy to buy in when they feel defeated. What have you found, or that God's kind of shown you in all your experience as an AD and a coach and all of that to help people through that?
It's going to sound silly, but it's so powerful, and that is stop sleeping in. Wake up early.
Wake up.
Yeah? Like, what's early for you, though?
Right. Yep. And so if the calf, for example, I tell the guys this all the time. They're sick of hearing it. If the calf is open at 7:15, right, for breakfast, go. Oh, I don't like to eat breakfast. That's your first problem. Right? That's your first problem. Because while you were sleeping, your body burned all this calories and energies and sugars and stuff. So you're already waking up tired. It's normal for your body to need recovery. Drink some water, get some fruits in you, get after your day. You're done at 7:45. Let's call it 8 a.m. You got an 8 a.m. class. Go get after it, right? So if you're up early, 6:30 in the morning, 6:45, you're in the calf by 7:15, 7:30, you got an 8 a.m. class, keep plugging away. Keep plugging away. Or you got a long day? Oh, too bad. Keep plugging away, all right? And what's going to happen is that the Lord's going to meet you there. The Lord's going to get you through it, all right? But while you're sleeping in, what's your purpose for that?
I know.
Now, can you schedule a later sleep-in time, perhaps maybe Saturday morning? Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. So you can schedule those in there, but that's, to me, time management. That, to me, screams discipline, right? And now your work ethic starts to come in because you're terrified to sleep in. You're terrified to miss class. You're terrified not to study for an exam. Why? Because you see the benefit of being prepared. You're already up, so you might as well get after it. So it's something that simple. Wake up early.
Yeah, just waking up and be ready. I think sometimes we're trying to avoid the day even, Yeah. It's hard. Holland, what do you think is the student's number one challenge of waking up?
I think a lot of people in college you stay up late with your friends, not even necessarily partying or anything, but
hanging out.
Just hanging out. You like talking, you like playing games, video games, and it can be hard to leave the group and go to bed. Sometimes you got to say goodnight.
Well, let me interject this. Is it hard for you all to be uncomfortable?
This generation has a hard time being uncomfortable.
In our gym, you'll come any given day. I am yelling at them, be comfortable being uncomfortable. Yep. That's where you need to live. You need to live uncomfortably. That's where you need to stay at all the time.
That's so I do marching band, and I teach marching band, and every single year when we get these new freshmen and 8th graders when I'm teaching high school, they come in and they get out their first day of marching band camp on the parking lot. It's hot, and they're all sitting out. They're like, I'm gonna pass out. I'm drinking water. I can't do this. It's too hard. And I'm like, it's not hard. Well, it is, but you're just uncomfortable. That's what we have to tell them is, are you actually going to pass out, or are you just feeling uncomfortable in the heat? Because there's a difference.
It's even the time thing. I have little kids, 10, 8, and 6, and so they're always dramatic about something being uncomfortable. But even getting them to look past that moment and to understand, hey, okay, yeah, you need to use the bathroom. Not, don't hold it forever, but like you're going to be okay. Like you're going to, or, this, maybe you go to the doctor and they're, so scared about a shot or whatever. Just getting them to look past that, hey, this is actually not going to last forever. This is going to be over in just a minute. But learning to live in that moment well is important. We're always trying to skip over something hard, but in the meantime, we don't learn anything in how to actually live through the moment we're in, and we just repeat the same failures and mistakes over and over again, and just in different spaces. But it's hard. It's hard to look past that moment, even if it's real. It seems so big and not temporary.
Moment,
Yeah.
Caleb, one of our other GAs, was telling a story the other day about he's wanting to prepare to run this marathon. He's been prepping for quite some time.
See him run all around.
Wow.
Yeah, he's running a lot, and he's improved his time tremendously. But here's the thing, though. He loves running with music in his ears, right? His AirPods are in, and he's running. And he's gotten to a point where he said, if I don't get a good time or I'm not satisfied with the goal that I set for myself on that time, I punish myself. In other words, he gives himself a little punishment. Takes his AirPods off, and now he's got to go run without music.
Oh, wow.
And he says he hates it, but he knows that that's the reward. Mm-hmm. And I said to myself, man, that's discipline. That's where your work ethic comes in. That's where your uncomfortability checks in to say, I've got to do better. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. That's holding yourself accountable. And there's some good to that, I think.
Yeah. Last year we got to go talking about this discomfort. Your team served a really cool way in helping with flood victims down in North Carolina on a disaster relief trip. A lot of discomfort in that. But, man, it was so cool to see those guys be willing to sleep on air mattresses and go clean out mud or go to, into somebody's house that can be uncomfortable, too, just to be in a moment where people are experiencing great pain and you're coming into that moment. What are some things that you saw your team grow from the discomfort of service in that moment that kind of fleshed out even back here on campus?
My brother, I have so much to talk about that trip.
Yeah.
All right. I had told them that short-term mission trips are hard to explain because they're uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. They're not fun, but yet at the same time, when you get back, you're so willing to not be back and be back over there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you don't want to be home. You want to go back.
Yeah.
Like, why did this end already? And it's one of those things where, like you said, you're sleeping on an air mattress and you're dealing with mud and you're dealing with the temperatures and you're dealing with all this other negative stuff like this house that you're mudding out. You saw the destruction, mm-hmm. and you really hurt for that family. And yet some way, somehow, we're bonding, right? And some of the conversations that went on and some of the things that were said, and then you get back exhausted, tired. Your hands are probably filled with blisters, and you're sore. And yet you come home and you're like, I don't want to be home. I want to be back over there continuing to serve. Yeah. And it was miserable, right? But it wasn't miserable is what the whole point is. And so it's like you give yourself a little bit on each trip. You give yourself up a little bit and you're sacrificing for the others that you don't know. And it's so rewarding. And I think our guys really experienced that. And that was stuff that they still talk about today in that gym. They're still talking about it. I saw Trent get a nickname.
I did.
His name was
Sticks.
It's Sticks. His new nickname now is T-Money.
T-Money.
T-Money, yes. Yep.
Everywhere I go. Yeah.
T-Money.
So T-Money over here says, I'm going to take everybody to get ice cream.
Yeah.
He had a whole van full of, not two vanfuls of people running with him to go get ice cream. And so I just think there was a lot of great things that happened on that trip. And you're right. We were sleeping literally on air mattresses on the floor, and we were serving others. Another really cool thing that happened, remember we partnered up with that Kentucky
Disaster Relief
Relief Group, right? Well, they blessed us in return. A bunch of them, like 30 of them, showed up to one of our games in the middle of the season.
Wow.
And to see all the yellow, shirts out there in the audience, it was such a big deal for us. So we made some friends, right? We created some friendships and created a lot of great memories.
I think you guys, like I said before I do Marching Man, I think the men's volleyball team are who served us our dinner at our band banquet last year. And, we really appreciated that because a lot of the times, Marching Man, it's like, oh, is it a sport? Is it not? Is it athletics? Is it not? But having like an athletics team show up and like serve us, that like meant a lot.
Thank you.
And then I think our directors were trying to make it out to a couple of your guys' games and stuff.
Please come. Please come. We love to have a big fan base. But let me also tell you another really cool story about your band.
Oh, wow.
All right. I just had a smile that wrapped around my head on Saturday. One of our coaches, as you guys were entering the field, he just kept yelling, "The best band on the land, the best band on," and I was like, "Look at him!"
Yeah.
And normally football coaches don't applaud the band, and normally, right? But not here. Here, our football coaches, yes,
different culture.
That's right. And I was so blessed to hear that, and I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, a lot of high schoolers get kind of a culture shock when they come in, because I know in my high school, the football team, like, didn't really care about the band. Like, at football games, I'd always play music over the band. Nobody would stay and watch halftime. And you get here, and it's, like, kind of celebrated by people, and it's cool to see. Like, it's nice to feel appreciated, because Saturday was hot.
Yeah.
Well, I'll also throw this in. At the end of a win, when all the guys shake hands and go to your end zone and there's a party over there, are you kidding me? I can't get enough of that.
It's the most fun thing
in
the world. Even if it's a loss, too, they still come over.
That to me is so special. That to me is so cool. You guys just keep playing, and the football team goes over there, and that's the moment that we've created as a culture in our programs, whether it's band or football or whatever, as a group, that we just go over there and we celebrate. And how cool is that?
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Well, we like to keep it kind of short and just something for people to kind of marinate on. Thank you so much for being here. But if you were going to give, we always love to end with a table tip. If you're going to give everybody something to kind of chew on for the day, man, there's so much more. I could ask you questions all day. And if you're on campus and you get a chance to see the men's volleyball team do it, it's really exciting. But also you're going to witness a group of guys that just are really cool and represent the world. They're from all over, and a coaching staff that's just amazing. So thank you for what you do. But, yeah, if you were going to leave a table tip with us today, what would that be?
I think that there's one thing that all of us here, and I don't mean this in a bad way, I'm just saying, think about this for a moment. Who else is serving you here? So as a student, is there a financial aid office that's helping you? Is there a student accounts office that's helping you? Is there a president's office that is serving you? Well, why do we forget those people? Why not just show up and find out what's their favorite flavor of coffee and bring them a cup of coffee randomly every morning? What's their favorite candy? What's their favorite chocolate bar, right? I think that the financial aid office at Campbellsville University, because of men's volleyball is going to be diabetic at any moment, we have been flooding them with chocolates and their favorite soft drinks or whatnot. And
Give them some love.
Show them some love.
I'm sure they have a rough time, because I've had to go in there and sit in there for hours and try to figure out situations.
When have you gone just to say thank you as a student?
Exactly.
Wow.
Right? And just that would be something that I would want us to be better at, whether it's the janitorial service at our school, right?
Yeah.
Or the registrar's office, right? Like, those people are all here to serve us. Without those people, we couldn't survive. And all they know is your student ID number. They don't know. They might recognize your name, but putting a name with a face sometimes is impossible. So they would love to hear from us. They would love to see us. And so make time for those offices, make time for those groups, and just show up and share a little love.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks so much. Until next time, we'll see you at the table.
Thank you. Thank you.
This podcast is brought to you by campus ministry at Campbellsville University, where faith, testimony, and dialogue come together. Stay connected, stay inspired, and we'll see you at the table next time.